Bengal School and Cultural Nationalism 6. Company painting. Art in India had a different purpose. Prior to the coming of the British, it could be seen as status on statue on the temple wall, miniature painting that often illustrate manuscripts, decoration on the wall of mud house in village, among many other examples with the colonial rules around the 18th century. The English were charmed by different manner and custom of the people of all ranks, tropical flora and fauna, varying locals, partly for documentation and partly for artistic reasons. Many English officers commissioned local artists to paint scene around them to get a better idea of the native. The paintings were largely made on paper by local artists, some of whom had migrated from elsewhere, Kota, Murshidabad, Lucknow, or Delhi. To please their new patron, they had to adapt their traditional way of painting to document the world around them. This meant that they had to rely more on close observation, a striking feature of the European art rather than memory and rule books as seen in traditional art. It is this mixture of traditional and European style of painting that came to be known as company schools of painting. This style was not only popular among British in India but even in Britain, where album concerts instead of painting were much in demand. Ghulam Ali Khan, Group of Courtesan Company Painting 1800 to 1825, San Diego Museum of Art, California, USA. Raja Ravi Verma's style declined with the entry of photography in India in the mid 19th century as camera offered a better way of documentation. War, however, flourished in the art schools set up by the British. The academic style of oil painting that we used a European medium to depict India subject matter. The most successful examples of this type of painting were found away from this art school. The best seen the work produced by self-taught artist Raja Ravi Verma from the Travancore course in Kerala. By imitating copies of European paintings popular in Indian palaces, he mastered a style of academic realism and used it to depict scenes from popular epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. They became so popular that many of his paintings were copied as holographs and were sold in market. They even entered people's homes as calendar image. With the rise of nationalism in India by the end of 19th century, this academic style embraced by Raja Ravi Verma came to be looked down upon as a foreign and too Western to show Indian myth and history. It is amid such nationalist thinking that the Bengal School of Art emerged in the first decade of the 20th century. Raja Ravi Verma, Krishna's Envoy, 1906, NGMA, New Delhi, India. The Bengal School, the term Bengal School of Art is not fully accurate. It is true that the first move to create a modern nationalist school happened in Bengal, but it was not restricted to this region alone. It was an art movement and a style of painting that originated in Calcutta, center of British power, but later influenced many artists in different parts of the country, including Shantiniketan, where India's first national art school was founded. It was associated with nationalist movements Swadeshi and spearheaded by Rabindranath Tagore. 1871 to 1951, Rabindranath enjoyed the support of British administration and principal of the Calcutta School of Art E. P. Havel, 1861-1934. Both Rabindranath and Havels were critical of colonial art school and manner in which European taste in art was being imposed on India. They finally believed in creating a new type of painting that was Indian not only in subject matter but also in style. For them, Mughal and Pahari miniature, for example, were most important sources of inspiration rather than either the company schools of painting or academic style taught in the colonial art school. Rabindranath Tagore and E. W. Havels, the year 1896 was important in the Indian history of visual art. E. B. Havel and Rabindranath Tagore saw a need to Indianize art education in the country. This began in the Government Art School, Calcutta. Now Government College of Art and Craft, Calcutta. Similar art schools were established in Lahore, Bombay, Madras, but the primary focus was on craft like metalwork, furniture, and curios. However, the one in Calcutta was more inclined towards the fine art. Havels and Rabindranath Tagore designed a curriculum to include and encourage technique and theme in Indian art tradition. Rabindranath's journey ensures the influence of Mughal and Pahari miniature and his desire to create an Indian style in painting. Art historian Parth Mitterrand, the first generation of the students of Rabindranath, engaged in recovering the lost language of Indian art to create awareness that modern Indians could benefit from the rich past. Rabindranath was the main artist and creator of an important journal in the Society of Oriental Art. In the manner, he was also the first major supporter of Swadeshi value in Indian art, which best manifested in the creation of Bengal schools of art. In this manner, he was also the first major supporter of Swadeshi value in Indian art, which best manifested in the creation of Bengal schools of art. This school set the stage for the development of modern Indian painting. The new direction opened by Rabindranath was followed by many youngster artists like Chitrendranath, Majumdar, Ras Leela, and M.R. Chaudhary Radhika. Shantiniketan early modernism. Nandalal Bose, a student of Rabindranath Tagore, was invited by a poet and philosopher Rabindranath Tagore to head the painting and department in the newly established Kala Bhavan. Kala Bhavan was India's first national art school. It was the part of the Vishwa Bharat under founded by Rabindranath Tagore at Shantiniketan. At Kala Bhavan, Nandalal founded the intellectual and artistic belief to create an Indian style in art by paying attention to the whole art form that he saw around in Shantiniketan. He dreamed to focus on. Nandalal Ghost Dhaki Haripura poster 1937 in GMA, New Delhi, India. The language of art. He also illustrated primarily in Bengal with woodcut and understood the role of art in teaching new ideas. For this reason, Mahatma Gandhi invited him to paint panels that were put on display at the Congress session at Haripura in 1937. Famously called the Haripura poster, they depicted ordinary rural folks busy in various activities: a musician drumming, a farmer tilling, a woman churning milks, and so on. They were painted as lively, colorful, sketchy figures and shown as contributing their labor to nation building. This poster echoed with Gandhi's socialist vision of including marginalized sections of Indian society through art. Kala Bhavan, the institution where both thought arts inspired many young artists to carry forward this nationalist vision. It became a training ground for many artists who taught art in different parts of the country. K. Venkatappa in South Indian being a prominent example. They wanted art to reach out to a wider public rather than only the elite anglicized class of people. Jamini Roy is a unique example of modern Indian artist who, after undergoing academic training in the colonial art school, rejected it only to adopt the flat and colorful style of painting seen in villages. He wanted his painting to be simple and easy to duplicate to reach a wider public and based on themes like women and children, specifically rural life generally. However, the struggle between Indian and European tastes in art continued as seen in the art policy of the British Guard. For example, the project for mural decoration from Lutyens Delhi building went to the student of Bombay School of Art, trained in realistic study by its principal, Gladstone Solomon. On the other hand, the Bengal school artists were allowed to decorate the Indian House in London under close British supervision. K. Venkatappa Rama's marriage, 1914, private collection, India. Pan-Asianism and modernism. Colonial art policy had created a divide between those who liked the European academic style and those who favored Indian style. Following the partition of Bengal in 1905, the Swadeshi movement was at peaks and it reflected in idea about art. Anand Kumar Swamy, an important art historian, wrote about Swadeshi in art and joined hands with Japanese nationalist Kakuso Okakura, who was visiting Rabindranath Tagore in Calcutta. He came to India with his idea about Pan-Asianism, by which he wanted to unite India with other Eastern nations and fight against Western imperialism. Two Japanese artists accompanied him to Calcutta, who went to Santiniketan to wash technique of painting to Indian students as an alternative to Western oil painting. If on one hand, the Pan-Asianism was gaining popularity about border Europe are also traveled to India, hence 1922 may be regarded as a remarkable one when an important exhibition to work by Paul Klee, Kandinsky and other artists who were part of Bauhaus schools in Germany traveled to Calcutta. These European artists had rejected academic realism which appealed to the Swadeshi artist. They created more abstract language of the art consisting of square, circle, and color patches. For the first time, Indian artist public had a direct encounter with modern art of this kind. It is in the painting by Gagendranath Tagore, brother Rabindranath Tagore. With the influence of modern Western style of painting can be clearly seen. He made several paintings using Cubist style in which building interior were created out of geometric patterns. Besides, he was deeply interested in making caricatures, in which he often made fun of rich Bengalis, blindly following the European style of living. Different concept of modernism, Western and Indian. The divide between Anglicist and Orientalist, as mentioned earlier, was not based on race. Take the case of Bengali intellectual Binoy Sarkar, who sided with Anglicist and considered modernism that was growing in Europe as authentic in an article. The futurism of young Asian. For him, the Oriental Bengal school of art was regressive and anti-modern. On the other hand, it was E.B. Howell, an Englishman who was in favor of return to native art to create a true modern Indian art. It is in this context that we have two viewers collaboration, Rabindranath Tagore. Amrita Shekhar, whom we will discuss in the next chapter, is a perfect example of meeting both this point of view. She used the kind of style that Bauhaus exhibition showed to depict Indian scene. Amrita Shergill Camels, NGMA, New Delhi, India. Modern art in India can be best understood as a result of the conflict between colonialism and nationalism. Colonialism introduced a new institution of art like art school, exhibition gallery, art magazine, and art society. Nationalist artists, while accepting this change, continue to present more Indian art, taste in art, and even accept a larger Asian identity for a while. This legacy was going to leave a deep impact on the later history of modern Indian art. Therefore, it will keep moving from internationalism, that is, draw idea from the West, and indigenous, that is, to be true to one's own legacy and traditions. Tillers of the Soil. This is one of the panels made by Nandalal Bose in 1938 for Haripura Congress. In this panel, a farmer is shown plowing a field, the daily activity of a common man in any village. To capture the essence of village life in his Haripura panel, Bose made pen and ink brush study of local villagers. He used thick tempera and a bold cursory style and broad brushstrokes. This technique and style was reminiscent of folk art practice of patua or scroll painter. Folk style is purposely used to represent the rural life. It also conveys a political statement of Gandhi idea of village. The background of the poster has an arc, a strong sense of formal designs, bold color schemes, and the blend of nature and conventionally in this panel reflect both inspiration from Ajanta wall painting and sculpture. More than 400 posters were prepared at Kala Bhavan under the supervision of Bose, who was influenced by the idea of Gandhi. These posters place common people in the center of the nation, building those utilize art to build a nation moral character. Raslila. This is watercolor painting in wash techniques, portraying divine life of Sri Krishna, made by Shitendranath Majumdar 1891 to 1975. He was only of the early student of Rabindranath Tagore who carried forward the wash tradition with some deviation. Rustic, thin, slender figure, modest gesture, idyllic setting, and a delicate watercolor express his stylistic feature. He has painted mythological religious subject, Manbhanjan of Radha, Sakhi and Radha Lakshmi, and birth of Sri Chaitanya are few examples of his extraordinary power of expression inspired by his understanding of religious concept. As a follower of Bhakti Marga, in this painting, Krishna is dancing with Radha and Sakhi, and the background of tree creates a simple rural atmosphere. Illustrated in the Bhagavad Purana Gita Govinda. Again, their clothes are drawn with simple flowing, delicate line. The sublime role of character are captured well. Krishna and gopis are drawn with same proportion. The human and gods are brought on the same level. Radhika. This is wash and tempera painting made on paper by Abdul Rahman Chugtai, 1899-1975, was descendant of Islah Ahmed, the chief architect of Shah Jahan. He was also the designer of Jama Masjid and Red Fort in Delhi and Taj Mahal in Agra. He was influenced by Rabindranath Tagore, and Nandalal Bose. Chauta experimented with the wash technique and infused a distinct character calligraphic line, typical in Mughal manuscript and old Persian painting. It gave deeper sensuous quality to his painting. In this painting, Radhika is portrayed walking away from light and light in a gloomy background, as if in a state of trance or remorse. Subject based on Hindu mythology. He also painted character from legend, folklore, and history of the Hindu, Islamic, Rajput, and Mughal world. The light and the shade of the background represent finest height of simplification. Chongta has stylistic affinity with the renowned Chinese and Japanese master. The character is drawn gracefully, with a lyrical quality of calligraphy in every line. It is as if poem find vision form. Other work which carry these poetic qualities are Rumi Radhika, Umair Khayyam, Dreams, Hiraram Tota, Lady Under a Tree, Musician Girl, Lady, Man Behind a Tomb, Lady Behind a Grave, and Lady Lighting a Lamp. City in the Night. This is a watercolor painting made by Rabindranath Tagore, 1869-1930-1922. He was one of the earlier Indian painters who made use of language and syntax of Cubism to realize ideas. The inner experience of tabulations are stylized to a blend of allegorical and formal, transforming the static geometry of analytical cubism into an expressive apparatus. He softened cubism formal geometry with selective profile, shadow, or outline of human form. He visualized a mysterious world. His imaginary city like Dwarka, Lord Krishna legendary abode, or Swarnapuri, the golden city, bore a multiple wave time, point, multifacets, shapes and jagged edge of cubism. He painted interplay of diamond shaped plane and prismatic color resulting in fragmented luminosity to render the mountain range of the city. Zigzag play together are able to create tight formal structure of the painting. The painting is mysteriously illuminated by artificial light. One of the features of the theatre is show his involvement with his uncle Rabindranath Tagore, play stage in their house. The painter has taken many different of stage props, partitions, screens, overlapping planes, and artificial stage lighting, endless corridors, pillars, halls, half open doors, screens, illuminated windows, staircase, and vault are painted on the same plane to conjure a magical world. Rama went fishing the pride of the ocean. This is a Puranic ancient mythological story theme painted by Raja Ravi Verma. He was one of the first Indian painters to use oil paint and master the art of lithography reproduction for mythological subject. These paintings are generally large ones, depicting a historic moment or a scene from an epic or classical text, painted in the middle of dramatic action. It is intended to be noble, momentous, and emotional. The scene is taken from Valmiki Ramayana, where Rama needs to build a bridge in southern India to the island of Lanka for his army to cross the ocean. He prays to the god of ocean, Varuna, permit him to cross the ocean, but Varuna does not respond. Then in anger, Rama stands to shoot his fiery arrow into the ocean. Immediately Varuna appears and appease Rama. Even depicted in this painting subsequently serve as springboard for the next one. The story unfolds as each painting led to the succeeding one, covering in the process not only the major moment in the lives of Rama and Sita but the entire epic. Rama also painted the release of Ahilya, Rama breaking the sacred vow of Shiva before his marriage to Sita, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana crossing the Sarayu, Ravana abducting Sita and opposed by Jatayu, Sita and Ashoka Grove, the coronation of Rama, etc. Woman with Child. This is a gouache painting on paper made by Chamini Roy, 1887-1973-1940. He was called the father of the folk renaissance in India. He created an alternative vision of modern Indian identity. In the mid-1920s, he traveled to the countries of Bengal to collect folk painting pats and learn from folk artisans. He wanted to learn from the expressive power of their life. In this painting, over the child are rendered with a bond, pose simplification, and thick outline with sweeping brush strokes. The painting exudes a crude vigor, hitherto unknown in the Indian art. Figures are colored in dull yellow and bricks red background, emulating the terracotta relief of his home. village in Bankura. The two-dimensional nature of the painting derived from the pad painting, and his search for simplicity and pure form is visible. While following rhythms, decorative and clarity and instrumentality of the pad in his artwork to achieve and learn the purity of the pad. He was made many monochrome brush drawings and then gradually moved to basic seven colors applied with tempera. He used Indian red, yellow ochre, cadmium blue, vermilion, charcoal, grey, cobalt blue, and white made from organic material such as rock dust, tamarind seeds, mercury powder, alluvial mud, indigo, and common chalk. He used lamp black to outshine the drawing and started making his own canvases. Red homespun fabric pads used paper cloth or baked paper. Roy used the notation of village community as a weapon of resistance to colonial rule and a political act for making local signify national. Journey ends. May Rabindranath Tagore, 1871 to 1981. In 1913, this painting is in watercolor. Rabindranath Tagore was seen as a father figure of national and modernism of art in India. He revived certain aspects of Indian oriental traditions of painting in terms of theme, style, and technique, and invented the wash painting technique, brush technique, the soft, misty, and impressionistic landscape. This quality of hazy atmosphere affair of the wash are utilized to be suggestive or evocative of an end of a life. In this painting, a collapsed camel is shown in a rare background of dust, and since it personifies the end of a journey, the end of a day. Rabindranath tried to capture the Putra and illusion with the help of symbol aesthetic on one hand and literary allusion on the other. Physical features of the camel render approximate in their fine line, delicate tone, and its sensory texture lead us to the meaning of the painting. Rabindranath has also painted the forest coming at night, mountain traveler, queen of the forest, and series of 45 paintings based on the Arabian Nights.